Hi everyone, it's Fiona Edgar here. So this is a quick video about Mercury going direct. It's going direct tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock UK time. So let's talk a bit about the chart for that. Well, first of all, it does look pretty difficult. This is one of those times when you will find that the Mercury shadow period is probably a lot worse than the retrograde itself. Now it looks like a chart of war, to be honest, because first of all, we've got 3 planets in Aries, Mars making a conjunction to Chiron and Jupiter there in Aries. So something that was building or even repressed or hidden during the Mercury retrograde period, maybe like full steam ahead. Of course, the most obvious one would be Russia, maybe other countries deciding to get involved in that, or I just don't know. But Algol is involved in this as Mercury turns direct on Algol itself. Now, you'll remember Algol because it was how I was able to predict war would start on the 22nd of February, which I did because Algol was involved in that configuration. It's when the North Node was conjuncted. So Algol is known as the demon's head. It's a fixed star. It's said to be the most destructive and fixed star that there is in the sky. So it ain't pretty, guys. So we could potentially see some war. We're already seeing like random shootings and stuff happening. No surprise to me with Algol involved, all of these planets in Aries, and you know, we've also got Uranus sort of lurking by the North Node as well. So all kinds of dramatic things. The moon is in Cancer for this chart and it's opposite Pluto. So people's emotions are going to be all kinds of out of control tomorrow, especially. You know, there could be violence, more bombings or shootings or whatever. But on a personal level, if you don't live in those countries that might be affected, you will notice that people's emotions are just fucking nuts. And people, they're out of control because they're feeling everything so much more intensely with the moon in Cancer. Now, we'll all be feeling like that. So try to rein that in a bit and try not to sort of go off on other people because they are all also feeling the same way. You know, even if it looks like people are oblivious to things or they just don't care, they too are suffering just as you are. So we've got all kinds of stuff. Now, with Algol, Algol being at 26 degrees of Taurus and Mercury going direct on that in Taurus, like Taurus is a sign that I connect with food. Okay, food and nourishment. We're hearing those whispers about food shortages. Quite frankly, I'm pretty worried about that, and it's sort of sometimes keeping me awake at night. And you just see the direction that all of this is potentially going towards. You know, wars and famines and food shortages, and it just isn't very pretty. Like, there's really no way to dress that up or candy coat it. I don't know for sure what's going to happen, but you know, it's not a good time. Also, during that retrograde, it felt dark. You know, there was this horrible dark energy that was everywhere. Everyone was experiencing it. Everyone was having like a lot of dreams and stuff. So I had a dream like yesterday or the day before, I think, and it was about 3 women who are three women to me is always going to be the Norns. The Norns are the beings that direct the fate of everyone, including the gods. And in astrology, when the North Node is involved, it's very much a fated thing that you can't escape. And I do believe in fate. I believe that you have control over what you do with that fate. But, you know, fate was a universal belief, you know, until recently in the time of Abrahamism and, of course, the New Age. So yes, I do think some things are fated for us. It's written in the stars, so to speak. It's part of your destiny. So collectively, what we're going through right now seems to be a destined thing. You know, whether you think it's like the sword of Votan coming to clear away all of the degenerates and like evil people, or Kalki or whatever it is whatever belief system it is that you subscribe to, but stuff is going on and it seems to be like it's supposed to happen here. So food shortages and all of that. Now this is going to be going on until next July at least, because that's what the North Node is going to be transiting in that sign in Taurus until next July. So the North Node is kind of where you want to go to. You feel very drawn to that area. In fact, you can become obsessed with it. But it's not naturally where you are. Right now, we're in Scorpio, and we want to change. We want to go to Taurus. Taurus is about stability, nourishment, money, finances. So a lot of people may be worried about financial issues or experiencing some kind of, issues with money. Now, it doesn't have to be like a huge drama. It could just simply be that you've missed a couple of payments for something, and you need to kind of come up with a plan, a payment plan, or a financial plan to get yourself in a place of stability again. But globally speaking, it all seems to be a bit strange right now and confusing, with potentially some not very nice things happening, especially when it comes to this chart. But with the moon opposite the Pluto with Mercury direct, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some dramatic event that happened tomorrow or the day after in terms of violence and destruction. So I hope not, but keep your eye out for that. Mercury is also going direct, making a square to Saturn. That could be like pessimism, negative thinking, or it could be overly Saturnian governments, heavy-handed governments, restrictions and delays. Of course, especially here in Ireland, Dublin Airport has been insane for weeks now. There's been people in a line queuing for 6 hours just to get inside the terminal. It's nuts. But then I also heard that flights are being cancelled everywhere, not just in Ireland. Now, they say that it's because they're understaffed, but I've heard reports of people actually boarding their flight. The luggage is on the flight and all of that, and then they're told to leave and that the flight has been cancelled, while they're still sitting on the tarmac. So something fishy is going on. I don't know what it is. That we can speculate, but I just don't know. So what I'm going to do now is go through each of the signs, listen to your rising sign and your sun. You can also listen to your moon. That will resonate with you, especially if you were born at nighttime. So if you don't know your rising sign, you can go to astro.com and put up a free chart. You'll need to know your exact birth time, not a guess. That's not going to work. Or you can book a reading with me. If you don't know your birth time, I actually offer a birth time rectification service where I can actually work it out for you using astrological events that happened in your life. So Aries and Aries rising, Mercury is going direct in your second house. This is the house of finances, of money, possessions. So you're having some financial issues. Now you should have more clarity with Mercury direct. You should be able to come up with a solution, but you're having to take extra care in that area and maybe come up with a new plan. So Taurus and Taurus rising, Mercury of course is going direct in your first house. You could be having some issues with your physical body, health issues. You could also be maybe being very hard on yourself for your appearance. Well, I think all of us potentially could be having that because Mercury is going direct in a sign that's ruled by Venus. So you may be looking at yourself going, oh, I look like shit, or I wish I could fix this. So for Taurus people in particular, that might be an issue. Also stuff that's in terms of your identity. So the North Node has been transiting your first house and will be for a while. You have to cultivate a sense of identity that is maybe external from relationships and partners, romantic partners. In many ways, you'll be going it alone. But it may sound ominous, but I remember a few years ago when I went through that transit, and you do spend more time alone, you're more self-reliant, but good things do come to you, and you are more dependent on yourself rather than other people. So for Gemini and Gemini rising, Mercury is going direct in your 12th house. I always say about the 12th house, it's the place where the gods speak to you, right? So there's a very strong spiritual quality coming in here. You may be getting messages and dreams. Your dreams may be profound. You could also be experiencing some trouble with hidden enemies. Gemini or Gemini rising, you can't put your finger on who it is, but you know that something is up. You could also be feeling a drain on your energy and be extremely exhausted and tired. So, you may be coming to a solution for those things as Mercury goes direct. So Cancer, Mercury is going direct in your 11th house of groups, friendships, your tribe, people that you choose to hang out with. So if you had any issues with a friend, then you will come to a solution as Mercury goes direct. So you have the North Node transiting your 11th house. Friends and groups and being part of like a tribe is something that you will be focusing on. So Leo, Mercury is going direct in your 10th house of your career, your job, your public reputation. You could notice some solutions to an issue that you had at work, or maybe if you had like a smear campaign or something, you have sort of sorted that out. The North Node is transiting your 10th house, which is also making your job and your career and your public life a highlighted zone for you. So Virgo, Mercury goes direct in your 9th house. This can be connected to law and the legal system. You may have been reviewing your beliefs, spiritual beliefs, political beliefs. You could also have had some issues with travel, like many people, but in particular Virgo. So the North Node is transiting your 9th house. You're kind of probably feeling that you want to get away. But it's also trying to make you form more concrete beliefs within yourself instead of being swayed by other people. So Libra, Mercury is going direct in your 8th house. You should notice some improvements to problems that were connected to sex, the occult, shared finances, also stuff like death, transformation. Now the North Node is transiting through there. It's telling you that you need to shed a skin and you need to sort of let some old parts of your life die so that you can be reborn again. Scorpio, Mercury is going direct in your 7th house of marriage, partnerships, committed partnerships, business partners. So you should be noticing a solution. It may be a shaky solution, but a solution nonetheless. And the North Node is transiting there, asking you to form relationships with other people, asking you to become more comfortable with intimacy and committed relationships. Sagittarius, Mercury is going direct in your 6th house of health, daily routines, also pets. So my boyfriend has Sagittarius rising and we found a cat a couple of days ago, so we now have 2 cats and I already have a boy cat, so he's getting used to this tiny copper, very cute, very pretty but extremely vicious girl cat. He's sort of bemused by her, but she's fallen in love with my boyfriend and he has Sagittarius rising, so we will have to take her to the vet. She probably belongs to someone, but she ran after us and she was panting and begging for us to take her home, so we did, because she was on the road and she seems to be lost. But Sagittarius, you should be noticing a breakthrough really in terms of like your schedule, your health, your daily routines. Those should come a bit easier for you, and also creating some kind of structure and organized way of life. Capricorn, Mercury is going, sorry, I've got something in my eye. Honestly, I'm just so ready for Mercury to go direct. Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Mercury is going direct in your 5th house of children, romances, creativity. Now, the 5th house is not really a place where it can be, but creativity in the 5th house is not really about being able to draw or, practice, be a musician. It's about creativity when it comes to businesses, ideas for business, and things that are going to improve like your physical reality and your like a structured way of life. This is going to be especially true for you as Mercury goes direct in your 5th. You will notice any issues with children will start to ease up. Any problems with romance will start to, you may get some clarity there, especially if you started talking to someone as Mercury was starting to go retrograde. Maybe you find out when Mercury goes direct they weren't the best person for you. But the North Node is transiting your 5th house, Capricorn, and it will be until next year. So 5th house activities are something that you should be focusing on. So Aquarius, this is Mercury is going direct in your 4th house, your home. If you've had issues surrounding your home, you will notice some clarity or breakthrough there. The North Node is asking you to create a home for yourself, to create roots. It's also asking you to investigate any kind of ancestral karma that you may be carrying. I can identify that by looking at your birth chart. So we all have that. We're all born with it. You're a composite of all of your ancestors. So of course you've inherited good karma and more difficult karma and everything in between. So you could be also, some of you may be getting pregnant. The 4th house is the sort of pregnancy house. Maybe you are having issues there. So it's asking you to address those issues in whatever way you can. Maybe you're thinking of moving house also. So finally, Pisces, Mercury is going direct in your 3rd house of communication, your siblings. You could have had some problems with your siblings, but the way that you communicate, the way that you're thinking is changing. The North Node is asking you to address those issues. It could also be about driving, short journeys. So that is more of a focus for you from now until next July. So I hope that was helpful, guys. Just to recap then, it's going to be a tricky one when Mercury goes direct. People are going to be acting nuts. We could see violence, war, you know, that sort of seems to flare up out of nowhere. People around you may be acting in a strange way. Now, you do need to remember that this is a breakthrough. You will come to a solution to the problems that you had when it was retrograde one way or another. But these issues are going to be ongoing for you until next July because the North Node is transiting through that part of your chart. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. So if you want to book a reading or become one of my students, I'm taking bookings for students starting next year because I'm booked up until then. So shoot me an email and we can talk about that. But I do hope you're all well, guys. I love you all. I'll be back again soon.